Good night, everyone. Welcome to Motivational
Mondays.
Yep. Yes, we are on tonight. We are on for a very short time. We with
1 hour.
no delays tonight. We have with us a special guest of ours. He goes by the name of Elder Michael Ross. And he's going to be joining us tonight. We're going to discuss a very, very, very critical, important topic. Strength, and we're going to be talking about strength versus vulnerability. Can a man be both? Right. And so tonight we're going to have our special guest. So I'm encouraging you right now, if you could please share, come in. Let's have a wonderful discussion. All right. So let us get to it. Let's get to it right away. All right. All right. Oh, good evening.
Blessings, family. Blessings from the mountaintop.
Yeah. Yeah. Good evening. Pleasant good evening, Elder Michael Ross. A good night. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I am great. God bless you, Bishop and Lady Amore. I love you both. How you doing?
We're
good.
good.
We're trying to get this cracking tonight because we know that we have a short time here. We got an hour spent our time with you tonight, so we want to make sure we want to maximize that time.
Yes.
And so I'm just encouraging everyone right now to like, share, subscribe. I want everyone to come on in the room. We're going to have real meaningful discussion. We are live on our Facebook page. We're on live on our YouTube, our Instagram page, Christ Centered Church, and also got two TikTok pages going. Got my personal TikTok page going as well as Christ Centered Church. This is such important information that I want to see if we could get this thing out across all spectrums, right? And so tonight we have our special guest, Elder Michael Ross, and we're going to be discussing strength versus vulnerability. Can a man be both? Can a man be both?
Can a man be both?
Yeah, and I'm asking you, sir. Can a man be both?
Well, I believe a man can be. I believe it's based on how your approach is, your belief, and just on your perspective in regards to the matter in which you're dealing with at that time.
Okay.
Yep. And of course, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be, especially as a Bills fan, you know.
Here we go. Starting already.
Especially, I thought about when I came on. I'm like, man, I was gonna put on my Eagles gear, but I said no. We're not gonna make it.
No,
wait. So that's how you gonna do me, right?
Lord. We're fine. Trust me.
Oh,
no one's gonna talk anything about the Bills whatsoever.
Oh my God.
We're good to go.
Yo, well, let me ask you a question. How many Super Bowl rings do y'all have? No,
it doesn't matter. They're coming. As long as they're coming, that's all that matters.
Oh, man.
I don't know what the Eagles have to be so proud about.
What are you talking about? This is
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you, First Lady. God bless you, woman of God. God bless you.
Two rings. The Bills has none. Anyway,
Here we go.
We choose peace tonight. We come in peace. We come in peace tonight.
So we won't leave in peace.
We come in peace tonight. But yeah, we're so excited to have you on. Me and you personally, we've had this discussion leading up to this moment, and it was very thought provocative. And you shared some things that I didn't even understand. We commune, we talk, we do business, the conversation that we had, you took me to a whole nother level. I didn't even know that you were part Jamaican.
I'm not part Jamaican. My kids are.
No, but
I'm from the South.
When you started talking about the food, I'm like, man, this man is Jamaican. He just doesn't know it. Started talking about the oxtail and all that stuff, man.
Oh, come on now.
Good. She wants to say something. Jump.
We didn't let him introduce himself and tell the people about it.
I know, but that's all. This was. First of all, I had this set up for myself because honestly, she was not going to be here. Now she's like coming in here. I understand why now when God created Adam, he didn't create Eve first, because Eve would have been like,
Adam would have never fallen for that apple.
I think you should make him a little like this, add that to him, and you know.
I want to go on record first, lady, that I didn't say any of that. That is the man sitting to your side. That is not me talking.
Exactly.
Yeah, but seriously
we
though,
may have to take a rib while he's awake.
But seriously though, on a serious note, like, man, it's like 2 against 1. You might as well be sitting next to you over on that.
Wow, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So she jumped the gun here. I never got a chance to I got my whole script here of questions that I have to ask you. Tonight's special guest is Elder Michael Ross. And just, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little, tell us a lot, just exclude the bills thing. And we
all right, here we go. So first and foremost, I'm a child of God. Yes. Secondly, I am a man of God. Third, I believe in just positive, great, good vibes across the board. I have a beautiful family, beautiful children, beautiful spouse. Everything is great. God is doing awesome. I am from the great city of Binghamton, New York, up in the mountains, way up in the mountains. But nevertheless, I love it, even though winter never leaves and spring never wants to show up, but we rock with it. I do marketing. I do marketing for this great church, Christ-Centered Church, where we're growing together and perfecting our faith. That part. Yep. Outside of that, that's pretty much me. I'm just a humble servant of God. That's it. That's the most important thing I got.
I feel like you have more. I feel like you have more endeavors than that, though. Because I was like, well, maybe you're not Jamaican then, because
Here we go.
Back in the
80s. So outside of that, I'm a residential redeveloper. I do flips on properties. I have an Airbnb property. I got my hands in everything. I also now work in the health field. I work with UHS Hospital, doing outpatient transport, which is a unique experience. But outside of that, I am a man that works 7 days a week. So I have some Jamaican in my blood. Now what?
Hey, come on.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, no, we gotta be pulling this out of you. We gotta be pulling this out of you.
We do.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I don't want to go too much.
Here we go.
Tonight, we had a discussion, and our discussion was strength versus vulnerability. Can a man do both? And I want all of the men. This is for us. We need to, take this as a mental, checkup, wellness checkup on us as men, and women as well. Everybody. But a lot of times, last time we came on, we had Angie Locus on here. Awesome woman of God on here. Awesome discussion and stuff like that. And not only that, so what a lot of people don't know, what a lot of people don't understand is that this is the man behind the scenes working for Christ Center, doing a lot of the promotional videos, that every promotional video that you see running. This is the man that does the creation. I call him, he calls me, he says, hey, look, Bishop, what do you guys need to run? We have our schedule. We put our schedule up, and he runs, he puts everything together. We, at a moment's notice, we said, hey, this is what we need you to run, or this is what's going on. And within 2 minutes, he said, this is the thing that drives me. I never understand, because he's like, oh, well, Bishop, I'm not going to be able to get to it until Thursday. I may not be able to get to it until Thursday. You call him on Monday. And then at 8 o'clock, you call them 8 a.m. I may not be able to get to it. 8:15, promotion is running. And I'm like, promotion is running. What I mean? Lady A calls me up, was like, oh, did you see the promotion? I'm like, what's running? We're not supposed to see that until Thursday. It's running right then and there. So you have some you have a few people under you that's working. About how many clients do you have that you're doing servicing, as doing your promotion and things of that nature? And how can you help others to get their stuff out?
Got you. So collectively, I have close to 12 clients all over the United States. A big portion of that is a lot of ministries and entertainers, hairstylists, businesses, bakeries, restaurants, things of that nature. when it comes to what I do as far as in that aspect of marketing, I am very mindful, especially when it comes to ministry, of really tapping into the leaders. The reason why Christ-Centered Church is such an amazing church to me is because the leaders are sincere and they have a heart for God. And I'm not saying that there's not a lot of churches that are out there that are not like that, but this is one where I'll see these two beautiful people of God give their last for ministry. And I mean, not just financially, I mean, mentally, physically draining themselves, and they'll give everything they have. That's what our company wants to be a part of. We want to be a part of helping to grow and helping to build the kingdom of God by any means necessary. And when we can see that there's a couple that has a heart for God and we can grab hold and be a part of that, we're in for it.
Man,
yes. So
thank
yes,
you.
You're me love for that. You do.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I mean, that really means so much to us for, because, it's not often that you pull up beside someone that sees, even what you don't even see, like there's times where we like, it's like, you got it in you. Come on, and you're like, you push me and, to like get the best, drawing things out of me, drawing things out of us. And then you also do a lot of, behind the scenes, like you connected us with Bishop Michael Young.
Great man of God.
Great man of God, Michael Lewis as well, and Andrew Lewis and Sharima Latham, and
great man of God, Marcus Lewis. Yes.
And folks from up New York. And there's so many things, so many people.
And we can't help when we talk about you and how we get connected with you, we have to mention Pastor Nadine McAuliffe.
The first phenomenal woman of God.
She is awesome. She is my family. Oh, we love her, and we are so grateful to her for just connecting us and this relationship, this family that we've built. How you are helping us, and we truly appreciate you. And we can't talk about you without your beautiful wife Tammy. Like,
where is she?
We appreciate you all, man. We appreciate you all as well.
We know that the wives are the ones doing the heavy lifting, so I have to give my hats off to her for how she's just, she's doing a great job with you.
When I receive that, I look at what you're doing, Lady Amore, with Bishop Amore, and how you're just dealing with him being an Eagles fan. Just the fact that you can deal with that says a lot for me. And then when I watch how you all work together in ministry, I can honestly tell you, I think it's amazing what you're doing as far as being a partner to this great man of God. But the beautiful family you guys have, I mean, every time I reach out to you both, you're both working, you're running back and forth. He's flying somewhere, doing ministry and working. And I'm like, y'all need a vacation.
We do.
The problem is when we get back from vacation, we need a vacation from that.
I get it.
Vacation. Yeah.
But
it's crazy.
But yeah, that's just awesome, man. Like, so we're gonna have you share your information for anyone that desire to use your services as well. But let's because we really have a short period of time, and there's some things that you talked to me about, and I was just like, whoa. The vulnerability part. Let's go backwards a little bit. Let's talk about the vulnerability. What is it that is vulnerability? What does vulnerability mean to you?
It means being weak when you have to be strong, especially when you're in front of your children. So as I shared with Bishop Amore, back in 2014, I was married to a beautiful woman named Carrie Lee Strutter. And God called her home after 14 years of marriage. And it was something that was really mind-blowing and very shocking. It was sudden, and I was left as a single father dealing with my children by myself. And being honest with you, where I'm still trying to be strong and be there for my children, I was still trying to balance my emotions, what I was dealing with, just to make sure they can see that their father's still showing a united front, showing that he's strong for them, showing that we're going to be okay, because it's hard to be everything for someone when you just lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that part was very vulnerable for me, because just dealing with that whole process and watching them go through what they were going through and watching them do their mourning process and having to be vulnerable and be weak and be hurt, but still show strength during their process of their mourning. Meanwhile, I'm putting my mourning on pause to make sure they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big battle, a big fight for me within myself. Because here's a fun fact: I never had to deal with that ever in my life. So there was no blueprint to how you got to go about it. There was no one giving me advice, because my father didn't go through that, my mother didn't go through that. So I didn't have any teaching or someone said, "Well, here's how you're going to govern yourself during this crisis." It was pretty much you, God, and figure it out. And during that part in my life, I had to be strong. I had to be vulnerable. I had to show my kids that yes, I'm mourning with you, but I'm still being strong for you. And I went through such a process during that time frame where there were moments where I was feeling like I was losing myself
Mm-hmm.
because I was being dad, but then I wasn't being Mike.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with men, we live in a structured world where we're doing everything for our families, but we're losing our own identity. We're making sure we're dad, we're making sure we're the provider, we're the protector, but then sometimes we get lost in doing all those things. We don't find ourselves. So a lot of men, they're in happy marriages, they're successful, they're taking care of their families, but a lot of men sometimes suffer in silence because they're overworked,
Mm-hmm.
they're stressed out, and they can't show that, and they don't know how to show that to their children or to their spouses because they don't want to come off looking weak. Now, Bishop Amore, you wear so many hats. You're a great man of God, you're an awesome husband, you're a great son, you're a great father. How do you balance wearing all those hats?
You know, that's I was sitting there thinking, like, how am I going to answer that question when it hits me in the face? Really, true, because for the first, I would say, 16 years
Mm,
of, like, our marriage, and we've been married since
get it right now. Get it
2007,
right.
right? We've been married since 2007, and I spent pretty much from about 2009 traveling, and traveling all over the world, traveling here, traveling there. I mean, like, various location, and every
Yeah.
week or every other week. And so for me, I spent literally 16 years. My son, who was just turned 17, I
Mhm.
spent literally 16 years of his life, or re- around that time, yeah, because about the time he was born, I had the job. I spent 16 years of my life traveling, and
Wow.
I came home, had another child. It seems like every time, I came home and spent some time, the wife was happy to see me, and bam, the family grew. And
Yeah.
and then, like, so I spent time, like, traveling, and then on top of that, other things got added to my plate, becoming a pastor. And so for me, it was like, wow, like, how do I do this? How do I balance? But at the same time, I know that I got to keep on going, because
Yeah.
for many portion of that time, being married, even though we're married, I have to really, because at that time it's so hard to balance. It's so hard
Yeah.
to balance, especially with, trying to put a kid in childcare. And so for the first, maybe 9-10 years, we didn't even put our kids in childcare. As a matter of fact, none of our children has ever went through daycare. None of them have
Mm.
ever gone through that. So we've had to try to balance, trying to get, someone that would be around to take care of, which it would have been either a
Yeah.
grandfather, a grandmother, auntie, or our sisters would jump in. Her one particular sister is basically the caregiver for our last son. And
Wow.
so it was trying to balance that, and then come home and trying to like do everything else that was on my plate, because I still have to minister on a Sunday, but I have to first minister to my family first, and then boom, I'm minister to them, and then boom, I'm out the door on a flight. And so it was definitely difficult. And one of the things for even with my kids is 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 that I try not to show them that I am not vulnerable. Like, I let them see that I am very vulnerable. Like, and when I say that, it is okay for them to ask me a question like, how was work? And they'll ask me how was work. And I'm the type of person, elder, that I won't sugarcoat it. I'll tell them straight up, work sucks. Work sucks. You know what I mean? Like, did you have a good day? Like some people, they would have, bad days, and they will come home and then it's a whole new facade. But I don't want to give them that false, sense of security. Like, going out to work it's not an easy bed of roses, even in, being home, going to church, being a pastor, minister, being a husband. All of these things comes with, a package. It's like it's a package that's all together, but it will bring stress. It will bring burden. It will bring, there are times when you have to be strong when you are
nothing in you,
weakest point. And there are times when you just have to let them know, hey, look, there are times when my wife and I, like Sunday, we get done from church, and good service. We had a good service and everything like that, and came home. We ate, and I just basically just sat on the couch, and the kids just kind of went out, did their own thing, and then later on, Lady A comes and said, come on, babe, let's go get some ice cream, and literally, like we jumped in the car, just me and her. We just jumped in the car, and we just went. We had, we bought ice cream for everyone, but before we even bought ice cream, we just sat and we just talked, and we just talked about some of the pain, some of the anguish, some of the hurt, some of the things that we just feel, some of the, on the job, in this area, in that area, and even dealing with ministry. Like we basically have to get to that point where we don't. We don't try to, show like we're not, we're not vulnerable. There are times like we put this out there. There are times where we look, sometimes like we just feel like crying. You know what I mean? Like we're so dogged, we're so tired, we're so susceptible to things, like we're just like, our minds are just like totally shattered. Like, and like she works, and like even now, like I'm not flying as much, but I feel like I do more work now than I did
ever before.
With doing less. You know what I mean? So in other words, the other work that I had was a more physical work, but this is more of a lot of time spent, 10, 12 hours days, and mental drainage. And
you sound like me.
And then trying to figure out how the kids are going to maintain. But then before anything, one of the things that we had to do this weekend was, on Saturday morning, I just woke up and I said, we just want to do something different. We're just going to do something different. Typically we'll get up, we'll go breakfast, or we'll do something in the house. She'll, make this like 4-star breakfast, with everything. And I said, hey, look, let us just do this. We're just going to grab some Wawa, jump in the car. Once again, jumped in the car. We loaded it up with a blanket, some stuff for the, some juices and water and things. And we said, all right, you know what? We're going to live like how we see other people live. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're like, the other day I'm driving from work and I'm like, all right, my wife is at work for 12 hours, 13 hours. Like I had a 14, long day.
16,
I'm driving home. It's like 3 o'clock. I'm seeing people outside. They're walking the dog. Some are just laying on the grass.
And here you are exhausted.
Like what? I said to her, no, we got to do better, because our kids are getting ready. We married one already, 25. She's married.
Congrats. I saw that. Congrats.
And now we got a 17-year-old
getting up there
that now at that age where it's like, all right, I'm starting to be a man. You guys, I don't need to be tagging along wherever y'all going.
Like, why do I have to go?
And so now it's like we're sitting we spend so much time, you know what I mean, chasing after everything else, right?
Yeah.
After everything else. And when I say everything, I mean like the finance, because you got to work to maintain. Now, I told you in the first part of the marriage, like, you know, basically I worked because that's what I had, and I still work. And because of childcare and everything like that, things were a little bit hectic for Lady A to work. And so we made a commitment, and we said, man, we can't balance like this. So she stayed home for about 5 years, and it was just like work. But the thing that did to me was that it conditioned my mind, right? It conditioned my mind to the sense where I know how to balance. So whatever we had, we worked with it, and whatever we didn't have, that was it.
It was it.
But the thing about it is that when now she came on and like was like, all right, boom, we got to do. We just, this is what we got to do. She's doing what she's got to do, and like we're putting together. But we learned how to balance. You know what I mean? We learned how to balance. So now it's like it becomes a lot easier now. You know, like I know what I need to do. I do it. She knows what she needs to do. She does it. Then we come together. We come into agreement. You know what I mean? So we're strong, even in the midst of situations and circumstances where we are. You know what I mean? Where we're beaten down. You know what I mean? But it helps. It helps really be able to balance. So I gave sort of like this.
I get it. I get it. And being transparent with you, even coming up as a kid, I watched my father. I love this man. He is my superhero, James Ross. That is my guy. That's my father. He was in correction and law enforcement, and he did a lot of work. And I would watch him go to work and come home and do overtime. And when he come home, he would just collapse and be tired. I watched my mother, a beautiful woman of God, Shirley Ross. She would do the same thing. She worked in the postal services. She was a baker and all that stuff. And she would work herself to the bones. And he worked the morning shift. She worked the night shift. And there were like 2 trains passing in the night. But they would have time to spend time together on Sundays. But then Sundays, we were going to Washington Temple Church of God in Christ in Brooklyn. And that's what we were doing. But it was like, when I watched them, and I look back at me coming up saying, well, when I get married, I want my marriage to look like this. The only thing I could take from it was they worked a lot. They didn't go on vacations. They didn't hang out. I didn't see them go for walks or strolls. And then I realized as I was coming up as a father, especially as a single father at that time, that I didn't have time for myself. Like Bishop said, I was sitting there driving home and watching people living their lives and going out and having fun. And I'm sitting there driving home to get sleep to return back to work. And truth be told, that's the story for most people now. Most people just go to work, they'll go to church, and then they'll repeat. And not saying they don't have a life, but they're dedicating their life to their responsibilities and their obligations. My kids, my children, and my bills. So once the kids go out the house and they have their own life and you become an empty nester, you don't even know how to live your own life. You don't know what you like to do. You don't know where you like to go. You don't know what you like to drink, to eat, because everything has been about your responsibilities and things that you have to take care of and be mindful for. And when we're having that conversation, you'll be shocked how many men and women to this day don't even know what they want to do for themselves. They know that, like, for example, my girls, my daughter Jasmine, she's graduating and she's going to BU. And that's more finances for dad. So now dad has to pick on an extra job. So now dad works 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday. So when I want to have time to hang out and spend time with my family, guess where I'm at? I'm at work. And I don't mind it, because as a father, what happens is, and here's where this strength and vulnerability kicks in. We want to make sure that our kids have more than we ever had. So sometimes we sacrifice our well-being to make sure they're good. So I'd rather make sure that they're good, and when they get out of college, they don't have no bills because daddy's paying the bills. They can actually go and build a life for themselves, because here's the kicker. I don't want them to repeat what I had to do. Get out of school and I got all this debt and all these bills, and now I'm working to pay that off. And the majority of my life, like, if I didn't do this for them, By the time they turn 40, they probably be just paying off their school debt.
Yes.
So here's where the strength is. But here's my vulnerability. When I'm at work, you know how I feel? I'd rather be home.
Yep.
I'd rather be watching a game. I'd rather be somewhere relaxing with my family, my spouse, and just enjoying life. But here's what I'm doing. I'm sacrificing to make sure they're good. But meanwhile, I'm still in a place where it's like I'm watching everyone live, but I'm working to make sure they can live.
Yep.
And those are the conversations even our children don't understand.
Because our kids will say, Mom, why do you work so much? And I say, I want to give you the things that I never had. I want to make sure you're okay. And why does Daddy work so much? Because Daddy has to pay the bills so that I can give you the things that you want and that you need, so that you can have the life that we didn't have, and you can go on vacation and you can go out and do this and stuff like that. And they're like, okay. But then they still don't understand, because they're like, we never get to go with you guys, and I'm like,
but you know, but the thing about it is, I don't think a kid will ever understand until they're not a kid. When they become the parent in the room, that's when they come to that realization. Because our first daughter, like our eldest daughter, like, you know, it wasn't until she graduated from college, she stepped out. Now the good thing about it is debt free. You know what I mean? Like
beautiful
full scholarship, debt free. Came out of school making money out the wazoo. She's doing well.
Awesome.
Decided to get married, got a dog and everything like that. You know,
bought her
first home and everything like that.
You better go ahead.
So we and the thing about it is, she didn't realize. So when she hit that phase in her life, she's like, now I remember everything that you were talking about. I'm going through it. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the bills. Now I understand why. Because you got to also understand that the first child that you have, chances are the first child that you have, you're scratching. You know what I mean? You're scratching to figure out what works, what don't work.
What don't work?
You know, didn't have a phone until she was like 15. Didn't have an iPad until she was on her own. Now these younger kids, Bryson is 4 years old. He's had an iPad since he was like, before he was even born.
Because of his aunt, everyone.
It wasn't because of his aunt.
It's because of his aunt.
And every kid.
Don't blame the aunt.
Now these kids, every kid, when they, one kid's turned 16, the kid got 16 presents. Don't know why he got 16 presents.
Well, he actually got 32, 16 from you and 16 from me.
I don't know why, so, but anyway, but this is the life that we work to give our kids, and we will do anything and everything to do it. But like you said, a very important part, you said, like, once they are, and I was sitting there thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, man, I better start getting to know my wife, now. And the reason why I say that is because, but prior to the kids, we were spreading a blanket. The only thing that we could muster up was some chicken wings and fried chicken, fried rice.
Bishop, don't say too much now.
Yeah, for about $10. We used to go to the park. Back in the days, we used to eat KFC. We would go to KFC, grab KFC, and we say, all right, boom. One time we almost got bit by dogs because we were at the park and dogs
and they wanted our food.
Started like rushing us, and we were like, hey, yo. But
man.
But we did, so that's what we had to do. I told my kids the other day, they went to the Bahamas, right? Mm-hmm. We went to the Bahamas. Kids get, our daughter got married there. That's where she goes to have the wedding. They've been to the Bahamas, they've been to Jamaica, they've been to Florida, they've been to everywhere, different places, and we're planning on taking them other additional places. That was non-existent when we were growing up.
I never had a birthday party ever in my life growing up, and our kids have had birthday parties every single year until they got to, in their teens, they're like, we don't want to do birthday parties, we want to do this, do that. So that's a part of the thing. Like when I was pregnant with our first son, I went to the job interview with him, and then he got the job. I had the baby, and literally the baby had to stay in the hospital. And 2 days after we brought the baby home, he started the job and he started traveling. So then it was like, me as a single parent because he was always gone. Like sometimes I would call him and I'm like, I don't think the kids remember what you look like because like, I would go to school and they would like, oh, we didn't know you were married, Mrs. Amore. They would call me Mrs. Amore, but they would never see him. And I'm like, well, my husband travels. And they just thought I was just saying that just because until he showed up and they're like, oh, she really does have a husband. Because it was just like, you know, he was going and I was always with the kids. And
but the thing about that too, Elder Ross, but you understand that.
Yeah.
There's a certain unwritten rule, or you know, it's not necessarily in the rule book for what a man is supposed to be. Typically, a man is out working, doing the thing. That's what I've always, you know, like you said, I've always seen my father. You know, my father, you know, and not saying my father never loved me, you know, but my father was busy working. He never took a sick day. You know, the only thing that he did was he would make sure that whatever happens, he provided. And one of the things too, and I'm telling, and if I could be straight vulnerable with you, and I'm gonna be very vulnerable when I say this, you know, I'm gonna be very vulnerable when I say this. So I see my father. This is what my father would do. He was a provider. I knew, you know, he wouldn't say that he loved me as a man, but I knew that he provided, you know, that's what his job was. He wasn't going to a school play. He wasn't, you know, I mean, he wasn't taking a day off to, you know, I mean, to take us to the doctor. He wasn't, you know, football games. He wasn't that kind of man. And it's like, the only time my dad would not go to work is he would have to be knocking on death's door, because the moment he got sick, you know what I mean, he was like, oh, you know, Elizabeth, I'm coming to meet you. Like, that was just him. And so literally, like, I see my dad work, and he stayed at the same company that, you know, for 30 years he worked at. And even when he retired, he still didn't retire. Like, that man, you know. But one thing that I saw, like the transition between that, from him being a dad to him being a grandfather. I'm like, where was this man?
Where was you when I was going?
Where was this man at? You know what I mean? Like,
who is this
$300 hairdo for one kid, $300 hairdo, $100 sneakers for another kid. I'm like, bro, I was lucky if I had
taken them on vacation.
I was lucky if I had some Pro Wings for like $1.99 from Payless, and that was it.
They had shoes for $1.99.
Yes, they made your feet feel fine.
Wow,
Bobos, they cost $1.99. But here's the vulnerability part.
Them?
I had no choice. It was either that or
you get shoes from Pathmark.
Exactly. It was either like you
right next to the cereal with the plastic bags. You gonna wear those shoes to church and school.
And it had that smell. That smell too. It had to have that smell too. That El Cheapo smell. But here's the vulnerability part of it, right? When I looked, and I'm being transparent about this. I hope I don't even shed a tear with this, and I'm being straight vulnerable with you. My dad taught me. He left such a mark on me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I've made that impact with my son. Like how he made with me. Because he was like, look, son, he took me out the house on a week. All right, we got, you know, like my dad, like he would do other things, other jobs, like people that he worked for. So, you know, he had a job as a warehouse manager, but he was always hustling. So the folks that he worked with would have like little side jobs that he would do. And he would like landscaping, right? So he's on a Saturday morning, he's like, all right, put your clothes on. We're going out. And we're like, yo, you know, like I want to wake up and have Captain Crunch or whatever. Yeah. But he was taking us out to show us what it is to put in a hard day's worth of work.
Yeah.
And not only did he do that, but he created a memory within me that even though at that time I was like, man, like this, man, this really sucks me getting up out. Like I can look back at it.
You a trade.
You know what I mean? He was like, he taught me how to do carpet. He taught me how to hustle. He taught me, you know what I mean, the value of a dime. He taught me some life skills. You know, it wasn't like all of this social media stuff, like all of this quick microwave popcorn thing that you see now. Like there was no TV, there was no iPad, there was no this. On a Saturday, I'm grabbing your butt out. You're gonna go out. We're going to do some lawns. We're going to, you know, we're going to do some landscaping. We're going to do this. And one of the things that my dad used to do, one of my things that my dad used to do that I look back at it right now, Elder Ross, and I'm like, my God, when my dad used to drive the truck for the company, do deliveries for, you know, up carpet. He's like the warehouse man. So he would pick up carpet and he would pick the truck up, and like he's driving the truck on Fridays particularly, and he's like, boom, he would stop by the house, right? And if I was there at the house, or he would call the house phone, right? And he would be like, the phone number was 215-729-1275. He would call that number, and I'm like, all right, are you home? I'm coming by to pick you up. And I'm like, all right,
home after calling the house phone?
No, but
are you home after calling?
I'm paraphrasing. I'm coming to pick you up, right? I'm coming to pick you up. And he would pick me up, and we would take that Friday, the rest of that Friday, especially on summertime, and we would drive from store to store. And I remember the memory like that we would have. Like he used to have this little green and white lunch pail, and he used to make these sandwiches. Man, he used to make this bully beef. And I was thinking about this the other day. He used to make this bully beef sandwich. We call it bully beef, but for those, it's corned beef sandwiches with hard-dough bread, lightly toasted, and the pepper, the onions, and everything was just right. And then he would offer me a drink, and we would sit there and we would eat.
Soft drink.
What?
A soft drink.
You seen too much.
You got to clarify.
His father was not giving him any liquor.
No, he would give me a drink. I don't need to clarify. If y'all are out there, y'all mind is that disturbed. If y'all are out there, y'all mind is that disturbed.
No, just because they know Caribbean parents will
no. I'm not even because most people know my father. But
I get that part, and I think that's a beautiful experience. I watched my dad work my entire life, and I was able to bless him by buying him a car. He needed a car. My father has driven Cadillacs my entire life. Cadillac Brooms, some real big, long. Back in the day, they were the mobster cars, because mainly our Italian brothers would drive those type of vehicles. And he would always go get one of the Cadillacs. So I brought him a BMW with tints.
Oh, nice.
I brought him the opposite of what he wanted, only because I see this man to this day as my superhero. My father just turned, if I'm not mistaken, I believe 87 years old and still working.
Wow.
He's a go-getter. He's a go-getter. But my mother was the same way. But seeing him put so much time into developing his sons and his daughters, and I was the baby of my family, and how my father would still look out for me and still check in with me. He wasn't how I am now. So in other words, my father was more of a stern version, more stay in the books, make sure you take care of yourself. When you have a family, take care of your family. It wasn't like, let's go talk, have conversations, and go for a walk. But for everything he didn't do, I do. So I learned those lessons from my father. But when I look back over what my father went through, now here's the vulnerability part. And here's a little history. My father came up in Bruton, Alabama. And during that time, he was separated from his biological mother and his immediate family. They were going through things. So he stayed with his great-grandmother and his grandmother. He did not discover that his mother and his siblings lived right down the block until she passed away.
Wow.
Now, I need you to understand where I'm going with this, to embrace this. And I'm telling his testimony. So when he was given from the county back from his grandmother's care to his mother's care, They didn't receive him. His mother didn't receive him because he was too dark. He was my complexion.
Mm.
His mother tried to bleach his skin to make him more of closer to her complexion. So now I understand what's happening. So now I have a strong African American male growing up in America, trying to have a family, be a godly man, and all this stuff. But now he's trying to make everyone happy. Get where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
He's making everybody around him happy. So he's becoming a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to make everyone happy and content. He'll go to work, he'll work himself to the bone. He wants to make his family happy. At work, he's doing the best he can to make his superiors and his bosses happy. When
Yes.
he's in church, he's having the nicest suits, the beautiful Cadillacs, and he's very hospitable and being loving, kind to make all the saints happy. But then I will watch my father be quiet. He would sit there and kind of be to himself and kind of stoic and wouldn't say too much. And I would wonder, what makes you happy? I've watched you your entire life give everything you could to everyone, and coming from a situation where you were not really truly embraced. You were not put into a position where you could be welcomed and adored and acknowledged. And now here you are doing all of this stuff for your kids that you were never taught to do. I never bashed my dad for not being able to do those things that I do for my kids for me.
Mm-hmm.
Watching his upbringing showed me you learn from your families or your ancestors' past mistakes, and you try to develop and grow and build off of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
watched my father be strong in a vulnerable state where he was not loved, he was not embraced, but yet he was still being strong. He wasn't shown how to be an awesome dad because his father wasn't around. But now here he is embracing how to be a dad, and no one ever showed him how to be a dad. When I
Mm.
Exactly.
saw what he went through, and then when I lost my spouse and saw what I was going through, I was like, we're twins.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm having an experience, not exactly like yours, but no one ever showed me how to grieve. And
Mm-hmm.
no one ever showed me how to be a single dad. But here I am having to embrace it. So now I have relationships with my children, and I have to be mindful that each one is different because everyone's personality is different. One's in the anime, one's in
Yeah.
the fashion, one's a drummer. My son plays the drums all day long, all
Mm.
day long. And he's
Mm-hmm.
right over my head, and I can't tell you how much I love it. It's beautiful. I live for it. And it's a big set, and he plays nonstop. And I have to learn how to love it and embrace it, even when it's hard for me to love it and embrace it.
Yeah.
But I've learned through that vulnerability, you can find your strength. Because I watched my father find his strength. And the second I was able to give him back what he's given to me all these years, I had to do it. So
Yeah.
when I hear you talk about your dad, it reminds me of mine because he wasn't there for my football games either. And I was a drummer in church. I was a singer in church. I had my own gospel group. My father wasn't coming to my concerts. He was working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I my marriage, when I got married, my first marriage, I asked my dad, I love him to death. Hey dad, hit me up the wedding. He gave me money for a limousine. And his exact words were, a week later, pay me back for that limousine.
Oh.
Like, that's not even a gift. But still, I receive it because that's how he came up.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah.
you're looking at that strength and that vulnerability, when it comes to men, a lot of men don't know how to, with all due respect, recover from their hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of our sisters don't know how to recover from their hurt.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
then we're living and we're broken bones. Bishop Lee, Bishop Newman, Apostle Newman, out of the Friendly Church, wrote a book, a great book called him and his wife. I think it's Broken Ribs on Every Pew, showing how there are people in the house of God who
Mm.
are broken but still functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that we're doing as men and women where we're running around being strong, but we're vulnerable, we're weak, we're tired, we're exhausted, but we do this church face.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm
Yes. Talk
happy to
about
see
it.
you here. But
Sure.
meanwhile, what we're dealing with, we don't come and say, I need to release this or have someone to talk to. There's one thing I do have respect for with Bishop Amore, and I'll say this and I mean this wholeheartedly. He'll call me every now and then and check on me, not for nothing, just to see how I'm doing. And men don't do that with each other. We
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. And even just recently, our brother, Bishop Young, he was at your church. He ministered, did a great job. While he was in service yesterday, his house caught on fire.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did with my brother, Amore, was like, Bishop, hey, hit up your brother and check him out. He said, I already did already. This is what men need to do more. And it's not a sign of weakness for us to look out for each other, to check on each other. Because it's good that we do this to make sure we're good. Because not always talking about sports or always talking about business, but women do this. Our sisters do this, but men don't do this. We don't do a check-in. We don't say, are you good, bro? You all right? You maintaining? You need anything? We don't do that. Our sisters do that. And that's why, being honest, a lot of our brothers, a lot of our men, they die off younger than our women.
Yeah.
Because we're carrying that stress, we're carrying that load. And when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with trying to build a community, a family of people. But yet, how can you do that when your bones are broken and you're weak?
Yes.
Because that church smile is only going to take you but so far.
So far.
Yep. I mean, that's some good stuff right there. We're about 5 minutes away from our
closing.
Oh no, we actually have a little bit.
8 minutes.
We got 8 minutes. Yeah.
8 minutes.
I'm trying to sneak some. I'm trying to get some time back here. Man, this is so awesome, man. We're probably gonna definitely need to do a part 2 of this, but
I'm down for that, brother.
Yeah, but you said some things, man, that are really, really powerful. And one of the things too, we as men, we find it hard to use that.
Yeah.
We can't. I can't even say it. Like, we find it hard.
You better say it.
We find it hard, and not even, like, even to our spouse, to use it to them, even to our children.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's hard, like, but I found myself, like, if I'm down with you, I'm down with you. If you my man, then I don't mean this in any other way than you my man.
That's it.
Right. That's it. No, I don't have to say pause or anything like that. I don't have to do that. But I can tell you, man, I love you, man. I love you.
It's love.
And it's love. I love you. You know what I mean? And that was some of the things that, like, growing up, we never heard that expression.
Yeah.
Man telling another man, yo, bro, I love you. Even like brothers, like a brother to another brother, like, I mean, literally blood brother. You know what I mean? Like I love you. Like, one time I used the love word to one of my brothers, and I ain't gonna lie, man, like the hair just stood up on my like hands and everything. I'm like, whoa, like, but using the love, it's all right to love your brother. It's all right to love a man. It's all right to use you don't want to use it just like carelessly or callously. You don't go throwing that L word around, because you know what? The thing about it too, showing that vulnerability to people, sometimes people will take a pounce on it because they I use it as an opportunity to sneak in and to to pounce in. But if I got you, if you my man, and I tell anybody this, if you my mans, if you my buddy, my partner, like that, you know what I'm saying, believe you me, that's it. There's nothing you could do about it. But unfortunately, some people are your partners for a moment,
for a reason,
for a time, and when they can't get what they want, then they they bounce out. You can't find them no more. Or God forbid, you grow in ministry, or you grow in business, or you end up driving a nicer car. You know what I mean? Or your wife is nice, or you live in a nice neighborhood house. People utilize it, and sometimes you have not changed. Sometimes people say, oh, bro, you got rich and you switched, and sometimes you that same old person, but you got to realize is that you can't move the same way. Because it's not because you are trying to put on or being like anything, but you got to realize, like, you can't move with everybody the same way, because not everybody got your best interest at heart. So you got to be wise. So it's not that you got rich and then you done switch, but you got to recognize. But if I know you my partner, if I know you my man's, you know what I'm saying, like, you should be there my cheerleader, celebrating. So when you get a win, you know what I'm saying, and we talked about this on one of our Motivational Mondays, probably like last year, about January, February. When you win, we win. And so therefore we have no issues promoting somebody, pushing them along, cheering for them. But unfortunately, we've always, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, we always find ourselves in a place where we have cheered.
Short end of the
We've cheered, we've prayed, we have congratulated, we have encouraged, we have done this, we have done that.
And they wave at you.
Yeah, take your shirt off the back. Like I've had people where I would literally take the shirt off my back. Like I've shown people some sides of me that I don't show to everybody. And even my wife, what I'm saying, like when she knows, especially when it comes to like finances, I'm very clingy when it comes to finance because I know what it's like to not have. I know what it's like. And if I have a few pennies, of course, I'm gonna clench it a little bit tighter because I know $1 million. If you spend a penny out of $1 million, that's not $1 million the next day. You know what I mean? So I know what it is like, and so therefore I'm very careful. But I'm also careful of who I allow in my space.
My circle.
You know what I mean? In my circle as well. But the thing about it is, and my wife, she's gonna tell you this. She's going to tell you this. I'm probably a little bit more forgiving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody will cross me and I'm like, all right, let's let it slide. And, I have, a person that will remind me. Like, remember. And I'm like, oh, but we're not called to be like that. But at the same time, you got to always have some things in the back of your mind. So you don't allow yourself to be at that place where you are so vulnerable to the point where it's like you get hurt again. I mean, come on, go ahead.
I can honestly say that from my childhood, from junior high school to now, I've had a close circle of friends. And I've had some great men and women who have been and imparted into my life and made me and helped me become the man that I am today. And there's several of them. My homeboy, my brother from another mother, Bishop Israel Newman. That's my ride or die. That's my homeboy. We worked in ministry for years together. My homeboy Curvins. I've had a lot of people who I've called best friends. And then I've had people who I called friends and associates, and they had tears. And the reason why is because I watched the unwavering dedication from certain individuals. And sometimes we'll give people the wrong title. And we're not trying to do that, but we're trying to be nice and hospitable to people. But sometimes, because we're looking for that friendship, we'll let anyone be a best friend or anyone be our road dog or our homeboy when they are meant to be an associate. And I can honestly say my homeboy, the honorable man of God, Bishop Israel Newman, that's the best friend. My boy Curvis is the best friend. And even right now, I'm building a relationship with Bishop Amore and Bishop Young and Pastor Lewis and I call him my spiritual father up in Rome, New York. Bishop Richardson and his son. I'm learning that it's okay to let your circle grow, but you have to use discernment. And you can't give everything to everybody. That part. You cannot give everything to everybody. You have to be mindful of what you give out, because what will happen is the value of what you're giving out, if you give it to too many people and the wrong person, it depreciates. Who you are as a person, what you're giving, what you have sacrificed, what you have sold. If they're not taking it and being mindful, this is the work that I'm doing, not because I need you to build my name up, because I want to see you win. I'm in a place right now where I'm only, even when it comes to my clients, and this part's a good part to really like kind of zoom in. I only want to see you win. But I want you to see me win too. I just don't want to be sitting there pushing you. I want you to push me too, because iron sharpens iron. And that's why even when it comes to great women of God, like Sharima Latham, the honorable woman of God, even Lady Tamika Newman and Mother Newman, and even Lady Amore. When you're dealing with great people of God who understand how to build each other up, encourage each other up. Lady Amore has sent me a text, hey, I love you guys. I'm praying for you and the family, just random. You'll be shocked how some of your closest friends won't even do that. They won't even do that. And that's why when I'm looking at my brothers and my sisters, especially my brothers, because my heart is for men's ministry, my heart's for just ministry, period. But I watch, because my father, I watch how people suffer in silence, but they
Mm,
have the church face. So I'm at a
Mhm.
place right now that I love this conversation, because a lot of men that do go to church, they have that church face. They're not
yeah.
happy with everything they got going on in life, but they're still showing that united front. And even right now, my brother Young, this man of God, when I say strength, this
Mm,
is strength. He
Yeah.
gets home, he's in his house, he posts pictures, and you can see straight through his roof. And the
yeah.
first thing he says is, God will see us through this. If
Mm,
that is not endurance, if that is not unwavering faith, if that is not having trust in God, you being vulnerable but being strong at the same
Mhm.
time, I don't know what is. And I'm
Oh,
happy to call on my brother, because he's shown me a lesson in humility. Even though you slay me, I'll still serve.
yes, sir.
Even
Yeah.
though I've been beat down, destroyed, I've been left
Wow.
destitute, I still have enough in me to say I will still carry on. And when
Mhm.
God gives you good people like Bishop Amore, like Bishop Young, like Bishop Newman, like Apostle Newman, when he throws people at you like that, you don't run from them. You
Yeah.
embrace them.
You embrace them.
You
Man.
embrace them.
Man. We I mean, we up against it. This is definitely got to be a part two. But
Yes.
Yeah,
tell
I'm
you
down
one
for it.
thing. I'm telling you one thing, man. That, like you said, that's a high note to end on right there. Because I'm gonna tell you. Oh man, I should have been more prepared. I'm sorry. I should have. I really was.
It was like the Eagles last year. You guys
Yeah,
weren't prepared. You weren't
yeah, man.
prepared.
Gotta be prepared. I was gonna wear my. No, I'm
Here, you
You're
make
not.
us
good, Doc. Don't
Cocomelon.
don't you give him nothing. Put that down, First Lady.
That's a Cocomelon doll.
What
At
is
least
that?
it's green.
Man, please. I'm hanging up.
but,
Y'all
but
searching for stuff.
but yeah, but seriously though, like honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I had to walk home with some of the stuff that we're dealing with, we would have walked home, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. God knows how much we can bear. Maybe we would have had a different conversation. I'm not gonna hold you.
I
But
hear you.
but to see that man walked in and still says, God is good despite
Yeah.
everything, you know what I mean? I mean, the ministry, the traveling, the missions here
And
and there,
everything he's doing.
everything
Mhm.
that he's doing. You done preach your heart out. You came to our church, talk about, give me the word. You know what I'm saying? Man, he definitely had to have the word hidden in his heart
Mhm.
so that he didn't sin, because that was a moment. But
Right.
anyway, so we're closing. We're closing. We thank you all, everyone, for taking the time out to join with us. And man of God, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to close us off in prayer, and
Yeah.
also, like, praying for men in general, but definitely bringing and bringing Bishop Young to the
Yeah.
forefront of this prayer. And the crazy thing is, I spoke to Bishop-elect Lewis on, I believe it was Friday. I spoke to him,
Mhm.
and he did a funeral. He did a funeral, and he said that he left the funeral, and while he had left and went and got something to eat, he got a call back from somebody that was at the funeral, and
Mhm.
somebody got shot.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, right there. So you never know
Wow.
when and how life could change, and of
And
course,
how quickly.
how quickly it could change. So this was some
Yeah.
funeral that was, I mean, it's probably street related,
Yeah.
you know, and people will come and get you right where you are.
Yes,
I
Mhm.
they
mean,
will.
they'll come
Yes,
get
they
you.
will.
I want you. I've heard it in our circle, in the Jamaican circle. I've seen, I've not
Yeah.
seen it, but I've definitely heard it. So if there's any time that we need to keep young men under prayer, you
Yeah.
know, for God to
It's now.
really, gird us, gird our loins, this is the time, especially for our young men, young boys,
Yeah.
young adult men, with everything that is going on. I mean, this is the time. So I want you to pray. It doesn't have to be a long prayer. And
I
then we
got you.
can close from there.
All right, dear Heavenly Father, we're coming to you right now. We're thanking you first and foremost for giving us the gift of life, for giving us the gift of understanding, the gift of peace, the gift of joy. Joy that gives us the understanding that no matter what we're dealing with, we can still look to you and know that we can still find our peace, our happiness in the midst of our sorrow. We ask you right now, God, to strengthen the young men, the old men, the young men, the babies, the baby boys, the grown adults, the grandfathers. Strengthen us so we can be who you had designed us to be, endowing us and give us the ability to understand that we have to move within your will and not our own. No flesh, but more in the spirit. We ask you, God, to come right now and speak to all those young men who are lost, who are dealing with hardships, who are dealing with hatred, who's dealing with pain, and they're outwardly acting that out in acts of violence. We speak against violence. We
Yes, Lord.
speak against death by guns, death by
Yes, Lord.
knife, death by beatings. We speak against all that. We ask you to renew their minds, pour in them a right spirit, and
Yes,
give them the ability to understand in you they can live and have their being. We thank you right now, God, even in the midst of this trial and tribulation that our Bishop Young is going through. We ask you to come and sweep right through that situation and undo it. Let the outcome be better for them. Let the house be built back better than it was before. And give him the understanding that he knows already that
yes,
I
Lord.
will be with you even to the end of the earth. I believe that you can do all things but fail. So we're trusting in you. We're relying on you. And we put our hope in you. We look to the hills from which cometh our help, because
Yes,
our help cometh from you. So we only trust in you. Not
Hey,
Buddha, not Confucius. We trust in you because we know that there's no failure in you. So we thank you right now, God, for the outcome. We thank you for the 180. We thank you for the turnaround, for the
yes, Lord.
renewing of minds, for the building up the house, the building back the structure. We
Yeah.
thank you right now for making what's wrong right, for giving us strength where we're vulnerable, for restoring the peace that we once had and giving it back to us once again. We thank you for all these things, for our brothers and our sisters who are dialed in, who are watching this Motivational Monday. Touch their lives, touch their families, touch their ministries. For those who are not saved, speak to them right now.
Mm.
Give them the understanding that you are the only way. You are the only way to get to salvation. And we'll give you the glory, the honor, and the praise that you truly deserve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
amen. Thank you so much, man of God. I'm going to reach out to Bishop Young again, but I've been feeling led to sow something into that man of
Yeah,
God.
we're doing that.
So definitely we're definitely looking forward to doing something like that
I will partner with you.
help him.
Yes.
And also for yourself, I would love if you will share in your share in the chat just how people can connect with you, for those that desires to have someone like you in their back, in their corner to help them promote, help them drive, help them to get to where we are, and especially building relationships with people. And I get it, it's not for everybody, and that's
Yeah.
okay too. But if you feel led to do that, people could connect with you, and real people could do that. You feel free to do so. So yeah, and I'll contact you after this, because I do have something to talk to you about for our next upcoming show as well. So
Got you.
so we'll be in touch with you. So thank you so much, Lady Tammy, for lending this man of God to us. I know you must have been relieved to not have to deal with him for an hour.
Here we go. Can we just please hang up now? You always gotta speak for the
He's pushing it a
finish.
little too much.
You always gotta speak for the finish. You're doing so good until you get there. So God bless you, Lady Amore, for dealing
Yeah.
God
with the
bless
great man of God that you suffer with daily. I wish you nothing but strength and God's peace to keep you
you.
and give you
Amen.
the power to endure our beloved Bishop
Amen.
Amore. Tick tock,
Amen.
I got to go.
Yeah. Love you, man of God. Love
Good
you, sir.
night.
I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Amen.
Exactly.
God
Good
bless.
night, Lady
Good
Tam.
night.
Love you
Good night.
guys.
We
Love you,
love you
man.
Salute.
guys.
All right. Yeah.
Bye. Mhm.